What is going on YouTube? Next TV back in another video today. As you know, the Lens series ended either last week or the week before last, but this week, or today, I just want to talk about some random facts about the Lens series. Um, there will be pictures popping up during this video to kind of help explain what I'm talking about. So don't be scared, not scared, but don't be worried that this is just going to be me reading just words. There's going to be pictures in this. So let's get into it now. So first fact is that Bucky actually had a part in training Lance. Don't know if you guys remember, but there was a scene when Lance first met Dante at the first base for the Powder Drum organization, and he put his fingers on Dante's pressure point, on his collarbone, and he kind of sent Dante to the ground. Now that move wasn't taught to him by Natasha. That move was taught to him by Bucky, because the thing is that Natasha taught him how to handle himself during a fight. Like if he's in a fight, how to hold his own. But then with Bucky, Bucky taught him how to end a fight before it began, pretty much. The post-credit scene of Lance isn't the last time Lance visits Natasha's grave. And the thing is that I didn't really want to make it the last time because, it just doesn't seem right to me for it to be the last time, especially with how much Lance is inspired by Natasha. But the thing is that we'll get to that later. Originally, the aftermath section of the last episode is going to be longer and feature Lance speaking to Clint on the phone, Hero making Lance and himself food, and Lance putting the armored arachnid suit. So I think the order of that would have gone: Lance wakes up, Hero isn't there, so he just goes to the workshop and finishes up the armored arachnid suit. And then he speaks to Clint on the phone, and after he gets off the phone, Hero walks in with some groceries, and Hero makes food for him and Lance, and they start talking. But because of time, or not really time, but because of the fact I didn't want the video to be too long, I was like, how about we just have Lance showing Hero the suit instead of all that, Originally, the series was going to be longer and feature a team up between Lance Davidson and John Walker / U.S. Agent, and feature a larger version of Lance's team. So originally, the way John Walker was going to be put into the story, it was going to be Lance's team was going to be in their hideout or something like that, and then they were going to be being hunted by John Walker / U.S. Agent and a team of guards. Now the thing is that in that they would Lance would know that John Walker was coming, so he'd tell his team to leave, and they would just leave. You wouldn't see him anymore past that part of the story. Then John Walker would walk in. He would recognize Lance, and he would be like, "Come on, he's with me." So Lance would start kind of teaming up with him. So we were going to get the U.S. Agent / Lance Davidson team up. There was going to be a scene which almost made it in where Lance would talk about what his suit is made out of, and the dialogue would have gone, I think, something like this. Unnamed character. So you're the metal spider. Dante. Suit's not even metal. Lance. The suit is 3D printed. And I don't mean 3D printed flimsy stuff. I mean it was actually I don't know if you guys remember, but if you played Watch Dogs 2, you were able to 3D print weapons if you had the materials. I think you needed certain materials, I don't remember, but you were able to 3D print weapons, and the weapons would actually work, and they would kind of look like they were actual weapons. So when I say 3D printed, I don't mean some flimsy stuff. I mean it's actually something actually actual. Actual, whatever. There's also going to be a scene where Lance is doing target practice in a similar fashion of Nat's flashback during Age of Ultron. Dante originally was not supposed to be the villain of the story, and it was going to be Lance's team against the New York City police force. So yeah, Dante was actually going to be a really cool and chill guy. I think Lance was going to meet Dante through Hero, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, eventually I was just like, how about I make Dante the bad guy, Dante Lerone, Dark Light. Lance was going to have a larger team, and Bradley Maxwell's role was going to have a bigger role. Or Bradley Maxwell was going to have a bigger role, yeah. But the thing is that we didn't really see Bradley that much. We saw him during when they first got to Toronto, and then we saw him when Annika got on the plane back to Michigan. But the thing is that he was actually going to show up in the final battle as well, because the final battle wasn't supposed to take place at the CN Tower, but we'll get into that later. Lance's car was originally going to get destroyed, so yeah. Yep, you guessed it. Lance's blue 2021 Toyota Corolla hatchback was going to get destroyed. It's going to get blown up. Lance went through multiple different name changes, with the first being Rogue, the second being Rogue Davidson, the third being Arachnid, and the finalized name being the Armored Arachnid. So you guys remember when Lance's name was originally going to be Rogue? That was when like the original like idea for Lance was out. Not this one, not the one you guys saw, but the one I've been talking about this far. Originally, the post-credit scene was going to feature Hiro in Tokyo. So you guys know that at the end of the Lance series, Hiro was literally like a couple days out from moving back to Tokyo, or moving back to Japan. I'm not gonna say Tokyo, because not specifically Tokyo, because Japan's more than just Tokyo. But the post-credit scene would have featured him in Tokyo. The older version of the Lance series was going to be a book inside a book, and pretty much what I mean by that is that it was going to be, we were reading a book, but then you were going to have Lance writing a book in that book. So it was going to be like Lance will have a journal, he's writing in it, and I'm describing that he's writing in it. My fault. Sorry. Annika was actually going to lose her aqua powers. Now what I mean by that is that Annika, like, she was going to be taken by Dante, and somehow she was just going to like lose her aqua powers. And to be honest, I was like, that doesn't seem fair, because we literally just met Annika, and she doesn't even fully control her powers yet. So that just wouldn't be fair, in my opinion. Originally, Annika's father was going to have been killed by Bucky as the Winter Soldier. Just to connect things together a little bit more, I was going to have it as that. Originally, the final fight wasn't going to take place at the CN Tower. It was going to take place at the biggest base for Powder Drum, and not the CN Tower. But because of the fact that in the story, I was like in the story, Hiro said he'd rather fight at the CN Tower. I was like, why not have the final fight at the CN Tower? Dante's suit was originally going to be purple and tan. So when I say that it was going to be purple and tan, it was just, well, you guys know it was going to be purple and tan. His coat was going to be, I think, tan. The Power Drum Super Soldier Serum was originally going to be a version of the Extremis Serum. So you guys know about the Extremis Serum if you watched Iron Man 3. Yeah. There was lots of product placement in the series, with Lance, Hiro, and Annika having breakfast at McDonald's, the Ford F-150 that Dante drove, Lance's blue 2021 Toyota Corolla hatchback, and the burger place they went to being a Five Guys. Originally, there was going to be dialogue of Dante threatening Lance's family during the final battle, which would have gone probably like, maybe after I kill you, I'll pay your family a visit. Maybe see your sister. Originally, there was going to be a time skip between the end of Far From Home and the beginning of Lance for about a month. Lance was going to originally have a Special Ops suppressed 1911 pistol along with a rifle. This would also give Lance reason to have the feature in the suit's eyes, which mark key non-lethal points of the body in a span of about half a second. Lance, when making the Armored Arachnid suit, seems to have taken inspiration from Bucky's vibranium arm, but the arms of the suit have a mildly similar pattern and possible inspiration from Clint Barton's Ronin suit because of the hood. The name Armored Arachnid took inspiration from Lance's hero name during the Zombies episode of What If, that being the Armored Falcon. In the early version of the Lance series, we were going to get a version of Lance that had slightly less morals. He'd be more ruthless, and the identity reveal would have taken a bigger toll on him. Hey there, how you doing? It's basically the equivalent to Natasha's Hey Sailor line from Captain America the Winter Soldier, only this is more of a signature quote for Lance. Lance's new suit was going to have a more militaristic look, featuring the green army surplus jacket that was worn by Hiro on his first suit that would look similar to Nat's. Lance's suit went through many different color variations, one being red, gold, and gray, another being dark blue and gray and brown, and also being white, blue, and orange. It was also thought that Lance would return to his signature orange and teal. Lance was going to get web gliders similar to Peter's web gliders that we used in Far From Home. Hiro was originally going to die, but this idea was scrapped quickly. Originally, Sam was going to show up. Bucky and Lance's conversation at the end of the last episode was going to be longer and feature a joke about Bucky possibly growing up with Lance's grandfather. That joke would have been set up like Lance says something, and then Bucky's like spoken like a true Davidson. And then Lance says something like, that makes it seem like you knew my grandfather. Bucky would then say, I probably did. Lance was originally going to drive a Chevy Volt. Dante was originally going to have a sword. The scene where Dante reveals the history of his family to Lancer in the final battle was originally going to be longer and featured Dante angrily saying, "That's the difference between you and I, Davidson. My family isn't coming back." Lancer was originally going to stop at Columbus, Ohio instead of Shaker Heights. The reason why he stopped in Shaker Heights is because of the fact that one of my favorite music artists by the name of Kid Cudi, he's from Shaker Heights, and I was just like, why not just have Lance stop there? You know, it wouldn't really change anything. So the reason why Lance was saying thank you to Nat for the last time, quote unquote, was mainly because Nat had done so many things to help him for 5 years straight. Most of what he had was because of Natasha, and he took that and is now beginning to use it to help himself and protect people. The colored webs were inspired by the blue webs that Miles Morales had in his Spider-Man Web Warriors cartoon. Now, despite all my efforts, I could not find a picture of this. I don't know if it's like a memory that just didn't happen that I'm imagining, but I could have sworn that in one of the episodes of Spider-Man Web Warriors, when Peter met Miles Morales, they fought against a villain, and when they were doing like kind of like they were webbing him up pretty much. I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong, but I could have, like I said, I could have sworn that Miles Morales had blue webs and Peter had white. And that's kind of where, that's the show I was watching when I first got the idea for Metal Spider. It was Web Warriors. I saw like a bunch of different Spider-Man. I'm like, why don't I just create a Spider-Man myself? So that's the whole story. Lance's Trio, where we assemble. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Pardon the video length. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And next to see you out. Have a good day or night wherever you are.
Had to make it weird.